Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is 7th of May. I always have to check. It is definitely... Oh my gosh. You know what, guys? Look at this. Now I'm going to be purple. Then doesn't have the camera turned on. Hey, it worked. Okay. Usually when I turn the camera on for the first time, it'll end up being purple. I have to turn it off and on. Anyways, that's funny. We got the jobs report today, right? What are we looking for? 3 million today. Looking for 3 million. The previous reading of 3,800,000. We'll see where it goes. But when we look at the action, we continue to see this. How do I explain? Man. So probably the best way is with this volume chart. Okay, so yesterday, well, the day before, let's go 2 days back. Okay, pretty big move up. They lost it all in like the last hour. Okay, they tried to push down. Didn't really make it. Pushed up again. Then at the end of the trading day, yesterday, falls apart. Again, not quite the same thing as this, right? That's what we're saying. We're comparing. So we're all, okay, cool. That's interesting. This could really get ugly. Well, they kind of came back to this support area. And they found support again. Now, they're not as high as before. If they fell here again, you can only make that move so many times before it's going to get ugly on the other side, right? But I don't know. Fed put, come on. It's just weird, right? It's just weird. Oh, we're coming back over here. Treasuries. Unmoved. Up a little bit. Don't really care. Oil taking another little hike up. That could be part of why we're moving up is oil. Because a big part of why we moved down was oil. So, I don't know. So, that's basically where we're at. We'll see how this news affects us. The thing is that every time we've gotten this jobs report, it's like a big scary number and everything, but like the markets are kind of like, well, we don't really know how to price this because the numbers are just so crazy. And then they move up anyway. So we'll see if they do that again today. In the meantime, I have been messing around with my indicators and it is not doing what it's supposed to. It is not doing what it's supposed to. This one is definitely not working correctly. So let's just remove it and add it back on. Remove. Add. Okay. Now where's my output window? Okay, that's all fine. Well, that is right, but why isn't this one coloring right? When it goes below 0, it's supposed to be magenta. Maybe it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, let's start the text-to-speech here. I might have to do some programming today. I don't know. It really bothers me. I really want to see it work during this time period. So I guess I may just have to look at the 0 cross myself. But where is my... Where's my code? Oh, there it is right there. 0, 1, 2, 3. That's weird. It should be purple. I bet you if I refresh it. No. No, it's not even. Well, maybe the workspace just got messed up. So let's, before we mess with it too much, let's just try removing it and adding it back on. I think this one particular chart may have gotten so complicated that, yeah, it's having a hard time with it because I was opening and closing it yesterday and it wasn't saving for time. Is jobs report in 5 minutes? Yes, at the bottom of the hour. So something I want to point out on this that kind of ended up mattering last time, but there is the initial jobless claims number and the continuing jobless claims number, because remember, they can revise prior weeks. And so seeing where the continuing jobless claims numbers can kind of give you a really quick look at was there revisions or not. So keep an eye on both of those numbers. For continuing jobless claims, we're looking for 19,905,000, and for initial jobless claims, we're looking for 3,000. All right. Another 3 million people added, though. That's crazy. Anthony Fauci singles out Moderna's coronavirus vaccine as reason for optimism. Wow. I think that there's reason for optimism, but I'm really surprised that the market can be up this high. Contact's bothering me a little bit today. I'm sure it'll go away. Okay, well, it's up and I'm getting... No, that's not right either. Oh, the roofing is ending up being great too. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm looking. I've got these histograms on here, right? If you can see down here at the bottom of the chart, both bottom of the screen on both of these, and I want to run a super smoother on it, so that's the colored one. But then I was wondering what happens if you put the roofing one on it. I don't think it's going to work out very well, but we'll see what it does. If it tells us anything. Will be interesting. But I'm exploring different filtering techniques on top of my level 2 indicators. Okay, 5 seconds here. Oh, let me... Okay, here's the numbers. Okay, continuing jobless claims higher than expected, 22,647,000. Initial jobless claims higher than expected, 3,169,000 versus 300,000. 4-week average is 4,173. Also, we got non-farm productivity, negative 2.5 versus an expected negative 5.5. So not as bad as expected. Unit labor costs slightly higher than expected at 4.8 versus 4. Overall, I'd say that the numbers don't look good. So isn't that interesting? Numbers were bad. They were bad. But they don't care. Oh my gosh, what the heck? So I this chart's so freaking messed up. I'm probably gonna need to rebuild the chart. Okay, so the E-mini did move by about 3 points. Seems that's super interesting. Okay, so there was a little bit of an up move in the E-mini, and now they're falling back down. That does take us negative on the hour, but since it's the start of the hour, I don't know if it's a huge deal. There's this 28.7150 again. Kind of ends up being the. Well, I think I should join in here. So I want to see them cross 7150, right? Oh, they touched it, and there was immediately some pushback. Some sort of a stop buy. That weekly open number. Well, they definitely come all negative there. Treasuries, actually, interestingly enough, kind of, well, since I've been watching it sideways, but the level 2 kind of suggests down. Which is certainly not in line with what we're seeing in the E-mini, right?
RJ Wheel says yes.
Yeah.
RJ Wheel says was.
Were we talking about the defense at the weekly? Or you're answering Daniel? Do we have more numbers today? Inflation rate? Yeah, no, not really. Okay. Oh, we do have a Fed speaker later in the day. Didn't quite pick the right spot there.
Junior says good morning, traders.
Good morning, Junior. Where's that JR? No. I just don't like how I got that in general. I really want to see them below this, and I'm kind of trying to give myself room, but the way that I ended up doing it, I think was wrong. So really, I should have been looking for like 28.7450 to go short on that initial push, and then maybe when it didn't go through, I could be taking it off here now and just getting a small profit. But I wasn't paying attention. See, right here looks fine to me, but okay, so now it's drawing my colors correctly. I like you. Okay, so now the level 2 is turning positive again. Okay. That's interesting. Well, it told me I'm filled, but I don't think that would have actually happened. Curiously quiet. Here, let's refresh everything. Right here, it seems to be a spot.
Andy Pavlatos says good morning. Are we riding the money train going short at the open?
Well, I'd like to avoid the open unless I already have a good profit baked in. And yesterday I said, well, I want to try and ride out
Kevin
the
Wimmer
open.
says, wow, I think this is the least volatility in the unemployment news since weeks.
Yeah.
And by the way, nice video about the think and the Amini 10 minutes before close. Got screwed a week ago and didn't know why.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm glad that helped. I was, the thing was, I didn't know about it. And when I realized what was going on, I was kind of shocked at how many people didn't know. Because as far as I can tell, the NYSE is put a lot of effort into making people aware of the process and getting involved. Like they're proud that more volume has been involved in the closing auction process. So the whole thing is just kind of interesting. And the story's been out there, but the traders haven't been talking about it. I don't think we realized what they were talking about when the news story came out, maybe because we didn't have enough context on how that auction process worked, Because I don't feel like this was something that I was like, oh, yes, I knew from the beginning what was going on. I can totally take ownership for figuring this out. No, it was like I was clueless, and I feel obligated to make sure that everybody else knows too. So and the video did pretty well. So I'm really happy that that's going. Okay. So I see a little bit of pushing there. Okay, 73. I'm noticing that the E-mini traded a bit more there than at the micro did.
M says Ola. Long time. What are you referring to?
Hey, M, I remember you. Where you
Kevin
been,
Wimmer
bud?
says normally I don't trade the close or after crude oil close.
Yeah.
Saw a decent opportunity in the E-mini. Was long and up 3 points in a bit and boom big volatility candle and stopped out with slippage.
Ooh, yeah. Well, one of the reasons I made the video was because I saw another YouTube channel, that's new. Pretty
M
entertaining
says
channel,
yay.
by the
I
way.
had to leave Brazil. Don Virus. Back in USA.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's good for you, but yeah, this is not working out.
M says but the end of day auction process?
Yes. Oh, what was I saying about it? Yeah, so anyways, this other channel they were trading it, and he was calling it the murder algorithm, and he had this clickbaity title with a murder hornet for the picture, and I'm like, that's not what's going on, dude. And the funny thing about that one was that in the video, the people were asking him, okay, so like, what do you think it is? And he was like, I don't know, some algorithm or something. And then somebody in chat said, oh no, isn't that the market on close orders? And the guy dismissed that theory. I think because he didn't understand that the being closed was a significant part of it. They're gonna go long. I took that like what 3 times. Did not work out. That last one did get a little bit of favorable excursion, but I think that's about as much as I'm willing to risk on that opportunity.
Kevin Wimmer says now I am curious if there is such a thing for crude oil.
I think that for futures, it's not really going to be a thing, right? Because you don't. Yeah, there's no such thing. Everybody just closes their positions out at the end of the day, and if they don't make it, then they have to wait until the open again. But in stocks, there's a very clear cutoff where you really can't buy stocks after market, even though there is an aftermarket market.
Gary
for
Rich
stocks,
says the
it's
close
not
to
good.
auction was written about in 2018.
Yeah. The CME has all sorts of stuff about it though. Anyways, but I mean, if there's more information about it, then I would like to hear it, because the whole thing is it used to be, I mean, that event always happened. It just wasn't volatile because the market had almost always already priced it in. Now they're not. That says to me that there is a significant opportunity for trading in the market. That's a significant inefficiency that the market is going to have to overcome. Now, I think that they might be doing that because it really seems like at the end of the day, all of a sudden, they start making this huge move down, and then it usually ends at that 10-minute mark, kind of like the push. It's like then they did finally actually correctly price it in. So I'm thinking, an hour, 2 hours before, it could be where your opportunity is. You don't necessarily want to ride out the volatile moment, but So, like, one of the things that I'm interested in finding out is how do you get that
This seemed to
data?
be a Death Hornet algo that starts firing off from 215 to 235. Oil
Oh,
settlement
okay.
time.
Oil settlement.
Gary Rich says the options do this at expiry. Even when post MKT 1 hour, options trade 2 hours after close. We call this blackout periods of getting possible exercised.
Right. But there's information about what the buy sell imbalances are, and at 10 minutes before the close in the E-mini is the point at which that happens. That data is released to the public, and I'm like, okay, so where does the public get it from? Because my just like a basic search did not show me anywhere that was talking about this data. So yeah. Okay, so they did be out the news swing. It is not. Oh, this is very interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of this. The market does not appear to really have a clear direction right now. I think it's just kind of whipping people around. Anyways, I'm interested in where you get that data from. If there's a way that I can get it for free and try and do the calculations. You know, because I'm willing to pay for data if I have
says
a
think
proven
or
edge in
swim
it.
post mom in their alert feed.
Post mom in their alert firm. Oh, okay.
M says mock. Gary Rich says unless you get the data from the exchange from say NYSE, your data provider will not be clean.
Yeah. Well, I know that you can get it from NASDAQ. That it's in the NASDAQ feed. I just want to go in, do a little calculation on it to see if I can find an edge. If I know that I have an edge in something, then I'd be willing to pay for the data, but not until I know I have the edge, Anyways, so there's that. I think though I'm more interested. So this is that's interesting. So I got this histogram down at the bottom here in the bottom right, and I wanted to put smoothers on it to see what I could derive out of that. And if it's above 0, it's supposed to color it green, and if it's below 0, it's supposed to color it magenta. And you can see
Gary Rich
here
says
that
if you
it's
want
not,
it, you have to pay full price, not this supplemental data feed discount.
Yeah. It must be because this point was above and this point was below, and that's why it appears to change there. That must be why it's coloring it the way that it is. Okay, so they are turning down hard, though. I think
3iDet says at Gary Rich, do you use data feeds directly from exchanges for your decisions or from third-party providers?
when I look at this roofing filter right here, I think I just need more data. I think that once I'm like 40 that it will adjust correctly. But the roofing filter on this one is not doing very well, is it? It's already trying to turn down, which is not right. This is probably going to stay up and be up for a long time. Anyways, any ideas that you might have on better ways to filter?
Bot says you have your ACCI set to calculate on close.
My ACCI.
Bot says should be on each tick.
Oh. Yeah, you know what? Some things about my workspace got screwed up. Calculate on price change. Oh, you on each tick. Okay. Well, now that's going to screw up the chart. It's okay. So I don't know why, but when I reset the chart, it screws up the roofing filter calculation.
Bot says oops.
Yeah, I don't know what. That's kind of weird. It's okay. 40. So 40 minutes from an hour from now, we'll look back at it and we'll see what it's showing now because the roofing filter has a look back of 40, right? So I don't might have to change some of those parameters and make it more short looking. Okay, so there was an outside bar there. There was a buy the high.
Gary Rich says mine are from CQG and others which I buy a lot. The fee
Okay.
for just CBOE live volume is $300 per month.
Oh wow. Hmm. It's turning positive for the moment again.
Gary Rich says data just the platform not data.
Data. Interesting. I looked at like some of the data from the CME and oh man, like you gotta pay like all I want is the value of a basis point. I forget the exact name of it, but I like the DVI calculation. I just want the DVI calculation that the exchange is using. That's it. You can get it for free on the CME like from a website. Okay. Like I can go on the CME website and look at the value right now. But I want to include it in an indicator. So I need to pull it out of like XML or JSON or something like that. So I'm looking at getting the data feed for the CME for just this one teeny tiny piece of data and it's going to be hundreds of dollars, you know? It doesn't make can't do it at that point. I wish that they made more of these things available in just like an XML document somewhere, like the spread the spread ratios, the inter exchange spread ratios. Like they post a spreadsheet, they should post it in XML. Well, they tried buying it up there. They didn't quite make it. Things are still light. Treasuries continue to tick up. They're still kind of fighting over the start of the hour. I'm a little suspicious. So I mean, I think that we should go short. But I'm also sitting here like, if there's like a Fed put, like they want them to push short so that they can squeeze them back out again. You know.
Gary Rich says data used to be free on a lot of things and historical bars. Once they figured out that data is the new commodity, it increased and it gets expensive.
Yeah, probably. Well, and it's amazing to me that the you know they're increasing the data fees for the level 2 feed and everything, like the exchanges. I guess the exchange not making enough money otherwise. I mean, I would think that the exchange would want to make that data as widely available as possible to get as many people involved in the market as possible so that you have more volume and therefore you make more money from commissions because that's where most of their money comes from, right? I don't know. Clearly, I'm wrong because that's
Bot
not
says
what they're
S has
doing.
full TFC on the month, week and day above 2,871.50.
Well,
Gary Rich
not on the
says go
hour.
long the exchange stocks. Cash money maker.
There you go. It's really interesting. That 7150 seems is awfully close, isn't it? Doesn't
Bot
seem.
says 2,876 on the current hour.
Yeah, 76 on it. That's why I took it. That's why I took it where I did. But once again, Doesn't seem to be taking. See that? Yeah. Well, the treasuries are pushing up though. Well, the treasuries are low though. Like, yeah. They're trying to make it back up into this range. Like they're probably trying to make it to 138.27. The 10-year. Oh gosh, jeez. I just remembered. Where is? Yes. We gotta test this for John here. Okay. Because he says that it's. I built this for him and he says that it crashes. So we gotta have it open. I'm just gonna have it open in the background. Okay, an outside bar there. Still holding 76.
Gary Rich says at bots, have you traded the TSX?
The TSX? Ooh, I think I know what I've heard of that. The Toronto Stock Exchange? Fed's boss expects banks to engage in bold and perhaps higher risk activity to help companies and families through the crisis. Now, look, they're right there on the edge. Not a whole lot of people puking. I don't know. It's nice that there's a little bit of
Bot says
price
yes, I have
discovery.
holdings in retirement accounts on the TSX.
It's interesting that there's a little bit of price discovery below 76.
RJ Wheel says I've got good runner short targets. 237,445 and then 23,649.
Okay. So there's another pretty big bar.
RJ Wheel says 23,745.
And see, they're trading a lot of contracts at 77, above 77. At least certainly a lot more easily than they were below. That confirms a pivot low. So now you definitely can't go short. Okay. A little bit of pushiness there. Back to 76. Actually, they went below it again. The Treasury's ticking up. Hmm. Okay. Well, that was a pretty strong move back up. Kind of a fishy one. Like, it makes the whole downside seem fishy, right? It might not be that. It might just be somebody big came in or some big news came in and gave back a lot of it quickly as well. Just like they gave back a lot of the short side quickly. The treasuries continue to tick back up. Like long treasuries seems like a way better trade, doesn't it? I don't know how dependent they are on each other right now, though. looks like a level break setup, you know? Yeah. And then look, the offers pull. Hmm. Well, I definitely shouldn't be in a trade. Okay. They ticked back down. They didn't take the level break setup. $28.75. Hmm. So once again, on that move down, I think well, it might be because I got things reset, but it looks like they moved a little further in ES than they did in micro. Okay, there's some absorption there in the 10-year at 24.5. Hmm. Interesting. So that move up and back down, it was a lot of pulling. Hmm. 710. We normally would have gotten a move by now, yeah? We're just stuck in a range. You think I think it's breaking out of the range and it doesn't do it. I don't want to do it. Now the treasuries are coming back there now. I feel like I'm making the same mistake over and over again, but then it's like one of these times it's going to go and I'll miss it. So I feel like I should keep doing what I'm supposed to. Well, I don't know if I was supposed to go short there, but like, yeah, they're back to that same spot. Like they're just sticking to that 76 level. Okay. Well, that was once again a pretty quick turn negative, but then still gonna go. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that one where it turned at
Existent being says
77
morning
so
Seth. Watching the
fast.
MES right now is stressful.
Is it stressful? I don't necessarily feel stressed out, but it is a little frustrating the way that they're moving right now, isn't it? Hmm. Okay. So that was a close one there in terms of what were they gonna create a pivot low on the 1 minute chart. But now you can see the buyers making some good headway up there on the upside, trying to make it happen for this bar. do it. It's been, well, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen it this choppy, but very curious. Well, maybe I need to wait for the open. We'll see what they do then. But I spent way too much trying to get something to go, and there really was never going for me. Like, most of those failed big time. One of them went 6 ticks. That was awful. Hmm. The book is actually a little more positive than I thought. In fact, I haven't really seen it gone conclusively negative yet. So that's maybe one thing I'm noticing. Okay, well, cool. Well, I finally got one with more than one tick on it. Are we following along with volume targets? I'm wondering. I think we have not been as I don't think we've had as much volume as we normally have, especially not for a Thursday. Like, normally the jobs report news would have created a lot more activity, but the market like literally didn't care. Doji, all the things. No bid at high yet, though.
Gary Rich says oil can't hold these highs. It will exhaust itself. The news can't save the fundamentals.
What news, though? Like, I don't feel like anything is. I don't think that any of the economic numbers that came out there were positive. The E-mini didn't even necessarily buy it either, right? They came down a little bit. in the end. Like initially it was a buy, but they came down after a bit. Oh, I forgot we still have the channel. So somebody does got VIX for us. Which one is which? Looks like the VIX has gone down. Those colors are too close. Looks like the VIX has gone down.
Gary Rich says Saudi said the deep discount of oil to those would slow down trying to reduce demand. That news.
Oh, okay. Was a little surprised to see oil up in like 25 area for sure. Like I thought, okay, up to 20, that's a retracement that makes sense. But up to 26, now I'm starting to think, okay, now you got to crunch the numbers. You're saying it doesn't make sense, huh? Even if consumer demand comes back. Works live noting USD JPY move in. How's my 6E doing? Now the dollar is up above 100. Not as correlated as they've been in the past, though. So it took a really long time, but they did finally confirm a pivot high. This is like almost literally right where they were almost going to make a new
Gary
pivot.
Rich says I'm saying the deep discounted oil Saudi sold was news higher oil. Demand in the form of we get back to work won't help temporarily.
All right, because it still doesn't solve the supply glut, right? Like, okay, so people fill their cars with gas. It's not until several weeks until that results in more oil being refined and so on and so forth. Well, Trading Floor Audio is tweeting a story from Reuters claiming physical oil rally might be short-lived. Physical crude has jumped in value in most recent days, but the rally will likely be tactical and short-lived rather than signaling a proper recovery. Well, it's starting to look a little bit more negative. Interestingly enough, the traders aren't really piling on it. We got about 4 minutes to the open.
Gary Rich says the crude curve is in contango by huge going out 4 to 6 months.
I see. You're playing the spreads on it, huh? Are you? Are you spreading that?
Gavin Reiki says what for PTON?
Who cares? Sorry. I hope that doesn't come off as rude, but I really don't give a shit about Peloton or any of those short-term stock plays. Day trading stocks does not interest me. Oh, you know what? I never turned on my lights. Let's fix that. Looking at me, and I was like, oh, I look so boring. Let's turn on the colors. Well, there you have it. There was the downside, and people are taking profits, and that's going to be an interesting open. Oh, strong offer showed up there. They may be going to try and break this just before the open. Treasuries are noticing. Yes. Okay, so they did. That last bar ends up being a big shooting star down. Wow, what? I don't think I've seen that. A shooting star at the bottom of a range.
Gary Rich
Okay,
says
10
trading the oil
seconds.
spreads is very dangerous right now, even out on the curve. Too much
really?
volatility right now.
Okay, well, a little bit of buying on the open. Did they open? Oh, 28.74.50 is where they open. Really? Huh. Okay, well, even this open has been incredibly tipsy-turvy. Like, the cumulative delta is all over the place. Normally, there's a clear indication of one way or the other after a few seconds, but not today. Weird action. Weird action.
Live Action says at Gary Rich check out Live Cattle 2, limit up yesterday.
Oh, really? So they're concerned about that meat shortage, huh? Okay, so in the end, the cumulative delta down is winning.
Gary Rich says at Live, hey, how have you been?
It's been a few days, hasn't it? Hmm.
Mark O says, would you trade cattle?
And now it's fighting here.
Gary Rich says, at live I have a small position selling puts on cattle, hogs, milk.
Cool.
Bot says Seth is an old cattle hand from a way back. Ask him to model his chaps for you.
No. I worked on a farm one day in my life. That was it. I kind of feel like I could maybe have pulled out a little bit extra there, but I don't want to take the risk.
Gary Rich says, if those are ass-less chaps I will donate more money.
No. Don't own any such thing. I think I'm really confused in this action. It's definitely behaving differently, and I'm not handling it very well. Hmm. No feel there, huh? It's so odd. By the time I want to get involved, it stops. And like I'm slow every time. Right? Take that. Slows down. Well, we're past our risk limit. So this is weird action, guys.
Robimani says, do you think will it break 2,900 today?
I don't know. Oh, come on. I was probably a little slow, but I thought that breakdown was the one that I was really looking for, and even still, hard pullback. Awful day. Awful, awful day.
Gary Rich says NASDAQ just went positive for 2020, amazing.
Did it freaking really?
Bot says looks like they're just running stops on the early longs here.
Yeah. I mean, it really does. I'm not trading that very. I did not trade that very well. Well, it's not that. It's there's an issue with the way I've been trading, right? It's trendy, and we're not trending. And then I've tried taking it way too many times. Why are there so many orders right here? I don't know.
Bot says initial pivot high at 2,881.50.
Yeah. Well, but they broke that already, right?
Bot says initial pivot low at 2,873.50. Bot says they haven't actually managed to close a bar above the initial pivot high yet.
Okay, I guess if you want to say close, but they breached it. Really? Really? Come on. Jeez. It's a fighting market, right?
Kevin Wimmer says, man, it just feels that the longs are gonna win and get yesterday's and prior day's high.
right? But if you try and take that, watch, 'cause none of them are gonna run. They're gonna
L.
take
Larry says market is too weird for me today. I'm out.
previous high 28.8625. One of the things that I think is kind of funny too is that when I think that I've got something that would really be like, um, how do I put it? Like something that's really likely to fill, and they're not filling it.
Kevin Wimmer says yeah, I am also staying flat in the Amini so far. Honestly, not nice actions with big retraces.
Yeah. Maybe they are just stirring the pot. So sometimes they will come in and like really stir things around to get a lot of people to take positions so that they can make a larger move that they want. They do that in treasuries at least. So he's just trying to stir up liquidity. Although I guess the way that this is trading wouldn't really cause a lot of y'all to want to take more positions, right?
Bot says finally closing bars above IP high.
Yeah.
Bot says we'll see if holds on a pullback.
The cumulative delts is just really turny too. Ah,
Kevin Wimmer says what's up? Only now IB which is initial balance.
initial pivot.
L. Larry says looks like a lot of bait for traps, is probably cheaper for me to stay out.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad that I'm not the only person having trouble with this, right? I'm gonna try this again, okay?
Bot says IP equals initial pivot.
See that?
Kevin Wimmer says there is a saying in German which roughly translates to back and forth makes pockets empty, and that so far as today's action in the Amini.
What I don't understand is why I can't ever get anything to give me a favorable tick. You would if it's completely random, then at least one of them should be going.
Gary Rich
Okay,
says these markets are so skittish. Wait for additional signals, alerts, etc. Let it come to you. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
be patient. Pressing a trade because you have to or want to is dangerous technique.
I think was taking it here because I feel like that it's more favorable and clear direction
Bot
about
says
which
I
way
like
it's
to
going to
use the
go.
initial pivot because it is dynamic as opposed to the fixed time period of the initial balance period, 60 minutes.
But you can't even for ticking for ticks, it's fighting me really hard. There's a lot trading at 79 there. See, it jumps up, take it, pulls back. Hmm.
Gary Rich says set a buy or sell outside of a range, put your stop and let it come to you. No stress.
Yeah. Well, because I'm trying to take it with the momentum. That's why it's failing so hard. They're trading a lot of contracts in the micros, though, guys. I don't know. What's our volatility projection target? Because the VIX has almost certainly come down overnight, right? All that work for nothing. Dang.
Bot says plus 50% 2902.89 minus 50% 2846.11.
Hmm. They both look equally likely.
RJ Wheel says that sounds stressful, Gary.
Bot says plus 100% 2931.29 minus 100% 2817.71.
Well, let's worry about the first ones. I mean, it's getting support there now. See, they're right up at a spot where they should be able to take off. There you go.
Luis Alarid says 5-year rising.
The 10-year is rising too. That's the worst. Some profit taken there.
RJ Wheel says I'm glad my short target stayed in the laboratory.
Here's the previous high.
Kevin Wimmer says and they got 1T above the inside day. 13 ticks to the weekly high now.
Okay, so he went and hit it to trigger it, but then it came back. I think that they will come up to this, but ooh, it's a little sketch, isn't it? It wasn't really exactly the way that you want to get hit on that one. So there's still going to be this other high, right? I don't think that previous day's high really matters. It's going to be 2889.50. So the high above that from 2 days back.
Luis Alarid says corn is popping. RJ Wheel says what in heck is propelling this market higher?
No.
Dan H says do you have an easy way to export the chart areas to your load file?
I do. I have a, if you go into the downloads channel in Discord, there's an export indicator that you add to NinjaTrader 8 that will export your levels to a file.
Kevin
and then you
Wimmer
just
says
load
I
them up.
just find it fun how the RTH session had some pretty big sell-offs going into the close and the overnight just erases the move.
And it just
Twice.
erases the move twice, 2 days in a row. Yeah. And then you can see this, the huge fight to push it higher. There's got to be some hedge funds going short the market up here because that's a lot of profit taking. And I think that that's the most I'm willing to risk on it. What is the most? I did get one to go 11. I haven't been able to get something to go more than 16 ticks. What's with that? Am I just giving up too early? And it's not like most of my orders have been buys too. That's the crazy thing. Oh, I don't know. That might have been. Yeah.
Gary Rich says at RJ Unicorns, cotton candy, pots of golden hopium is pushing these up. Sugar highs with long-term diabetes. Kevin Wimmer says yeah let them fight right now and during the overnight someone gonna make a big move in either direction with low volume lol.
But don't let the move up fool you, right? Like it's not conclusive yet. They've still not hit the like conclusive like somebody definitely won point. You know what I mean? The buyers made a significant victory that in days past would be pretty indicative of how the rest of the day is going to go, but they just stopped just short of the key spot and they just kind of had a stop run up there. And then they came back and they're kind of failing the support levels. We're going to have to come back to 28.80, 175, and then we can see. If they're able to push down through it back to 80 and then to the other side of the range, then this can completely flip on its head just as fast. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but it's a possibility. And given the way that how messy this market has been, I feel like that either is just as likely. It's almost impossible, I think. Oh, wait, was that a... I don't think that's what was supposed to happen. That's okay. And then trading relatively large numbers in micros again. Well,
Kevin Wimmer
downtrend
says, and
is
for that reason
starting
I can't
to-
take a trade right now. Way too choppy and indecisive. Pretty sure I would lose money either way, going for the break of the weekly high or the reversal.
The one thing I am noticing is that now the short side is giving up ticks. I did finally get one that was 12. That was 12. Now we're going to come into the counter trend period, which is going to be even more interesting given because it's already been like this choppiness that we've seen. That's kind of like what the counter trend period tends to be like, and that frustrates me. So if it's like that already, then what does the counter trend period end up being like? Okay. Something's going on. So remember that 76. I think it was right there, actually. Yep. It's okay. Okay, so now they have broken 76. Now they've got the open in their sights. Okay. Bit of fight there. 10-year higher. Here it is. The open. Hmm. Interestingly enough,
Bot says 11 consecutive down close bars on the 1 minute there to test the IP low.
the level 2 through that whole thing never really turned super negative. My my roofing function did, but my super smoother did not. Curious, I don't know if I have enough bars here for this to really be like working, but you see down at the bottom, I told you go short right here.
Bot says reconstructed tape stopped at 959, 59 to 859.
So I started mine later. So it might have to do with the amount of time that you have it open. So let's just kind of wait and see, huh? Mine hasn't crashed yet. And we need to get into your logs. Could you see an error message in your logs? Like under the NinjaTrader folder /logs?
Bot says no error.
Maybe I need to build in my own logging or something. Okay. So do you see how much more easily they're giving it up on the short side now?
Gary Rich says Bo more stimulus coming, pound, dollar down FTSE up. Come on RBA and BOC drop to zero rates and jack in the stimulus.
Bot says did you set yours to run from top down?
Yeah. Yes. Go. Oh, I should have taken that as she went. That's okay. I've got, well. I wish I was a little bit more leveraged on this, but it's fine.
Bot says you're 2 hours behind me. We'll see if it quits at 10 o'clock your time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's about the number 10 exactly. It's probably has more to do with the amount of time that it's been open. Like after so many hours that runs, maybe there's a memory problem with it. Yeah, I should check that. I mean, I can't think of
Bot
anything
says
in the
I don't
code.
think so.
I can't think of anything in the code that would cause that sort of a thing, but that certainly sounds like the sort of problem that this kind of a um, application would have.
Gary Rich says a lot of pretty colors on those charts.
Oh, I sorry, I have it over here.
Bot says some days I start it at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Today I started it at 5:10 Eastern Time.
So they matched the pivot low that they got at 5:30. Let's see if they smash through it. Oh, you're saying it died at the same time, even though you're starting it at different times of day. That is interesting. Does it show you something when it crashes, or does the window just close itself?
Bot says correct, always at 10 o'clock.
Hmm. Should have been more patient on that last set there.
Bot says neither, it just stops updating.
Oh, it just stops updating. That's a horse of a different color.
Bot says panel is frozen time not updating.
RJ Wheel says my YM target's in play now. 2859 is my S short target.
Is it still responsive? Like, can you scroll up and down and highlight the different orders or go into the properties? Because if it's just not receiving the data, that might not even be our fault. I mean, I would assume that it's a problem with the way that we wrote it, right? But if it's just not receiving data, then that's probably something that I have to ask NinjaTrader about.
Bot says I can go into the properties, I can change instruments, but nothing happens.
That's really interesting.
Bot says I have to close it and open a new one.
I might have to ask NinjaTrader. I'm trying to think of what I can stick in there that would possibly. Well, I'm gonna have to look at the code, but I'm gonna have to look and see if I can stick a message somewhere, or if there's a spot. And have to be look at everywhere where it's supposed to be receiving data and make sure that I'm catching errors. So there might be something where an error is occurring and it's not getting caught, and that's crashing out the method that makes it receive data, so NinjaTrader stops sending it data. I'm probably missing an error somewhere.
Bot says when I open a new one I get a log message that reads test.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it today.
Bot says with a timestamp, but that's all I get.
And go through it real thoroughly and make sure that there's not there's not somewhere that there should be a catch statement. and make sure that the catches that I do have actually are logging stuff out. So then I tried to go short there, and they bounced. Where was the 74.50? That's not the one. It's this 71.50 is the one that matters. Oh, I guess I just don't have that one on here. I don't know what that number is from. The hour?
Bot says yesterday after I mentioned it I opened a new one and it ran all day, through the 16:15 Eastern Time close and again until the 1700 Eastern Time close.
Hmm. I do have some stops up there.
Bot says so I doubt it has anything to do with memory running out.
Right. But if it has to do with that time, well, I highly doubt. Well, it could be the change from a 9:59 to 10. If mine crashes in 2 hours, then that could be an explanation. But I really doubt it.
Luis Alarid says ZN to 31.5.
You think so? Okay. Whoa. There's that 76 again. So now I'm a little bit in an area. I still so it was a really rangy day, right? And we've run into some volatility. They pushed really strongly up. They pushed really strongly down. They've beaten out the initial pivots in both directions, and they've been able to make it back above the open once again. So it's unclear which way
Bot
this is
says by
going
the
to go.
way, I have mine set up on the MES and I have it set to show everything greater than 5 lots.
Oh, why would you do that? Well, I guess it wouldn't matter, but I don't think that matters. There's an exception that's occurring that's not bubbling up to you until we and the only way we can solve it is to find a way to get the error message. Pretty hard to fix it without an error message. So the error message isn't happening. We need to update it to make sure that we're printing out error messages everywhere that there possibly can be an error. Hmm. All things said, this trend up has been relatively strong. Like that's a lot of bars in a row that are blue, but the sell was so much more powerful, you know? Mm, There's the open, and somebody's defending it again. I've seen this guy in the Treasuries before. It's like as soon as you touch a certain price, there's like a flush of buy orders happen there.
Bot says ZB sitting comfortable at 100 for the full session.
The Treasuries did. The 10-year did go higher. They're not. They're gonna want to go to that 27, I think. ZB is kind of a different story because ZB fell so hard the other day. The 179.21 is kind of hard resistance.
Bot says volume is pretty low at 75,242 since the Globex Open.
Well, that's curious. They cross the open this time? Okay. Yeah, things just turned negative too.
Bot says MES has traded 368,000 since Globex Open.
The volume in MES has been high, yeah. There's been some area, like especially up there at 2880. There was a lot of contracts up in there. What was that? Hmm. Anyways. I'm thinking I could have, on the way that all went, I could have taken a pretty good. I could have given myself more room here and not be looking at break even, but I didn't do it right. Didn't do it right. When it came through here, I could have held those contracts and taken them off at the bottom, and then I would be in that situation. Strong sell. Recovered. Seeing the ask pull a lot. Okay, well, your counter trend time period is. This whole thing has been during the counter trend. Okay. Man, I really lost track of time. I guess you guys have been quieter than we usually are at this time, huh? I'm all of a sudden I'm like, oh, 2876 looks juicy. Maybe a little too out of reach. Oh man, look at the delta on this. It's been insane too. Oh man. What am I doing? How can they do that? Well, it's 5,000 contracts. I guess it's not insane. Hmm. 79 trading a lot of contracts now. Okay. Seller pushing there. Pretty hard. Just a dash of orders crashing into the bid. They're fighting over whether they'll make a pivot high, I guess. It's gotten awfully quiet now that we're up here, hasn't it? The treasuries are still pushing up. Treasuries are really pushing up. Something's going on. There is a huge pile of liquidity showing up at 26 in oil. Something's up, guys. Like I really don't feel that this is over. Like at the moment, I feel like, oh, it's just rangy. It's just gonna be crappy like this all day. But then I see a couple of things that kind of say to me that people are making some moves and that there's gonna be more interesting things to come. So that's almost certainly gonna be a pivot high. Yep. Oh, really? Really? Man. Ah, jeez. I don't know, guys. It's interesting.
Luis Alarid says my ZN rising. Are you in, Seth?
I'm not in, but it's been making me think that the equities might crash. They're finally a pivot high. It really should just be in the treasuries, huh? Like like certainly 139 even makes a lot of sense, right? Well, probably like a terrible place to take a trade, but whatever. I think that right there is likely. Heck, even that could happen. $76.75 is where the hours started, is it? That's a pretty strong up move right there. Bit of stop run in there, I think. I'm not. I'm still seeing a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest.
RJ Wheel says no trades. I refuse to buy.
The whole thing is kind of weird.
RJ Wheel says I'm waiting.
I mean, maybe I've just made things too complicated, but they're just not giving clear direction. Like they're sticking to the areas that I'm usually looking to take continuations at. They're sticking to and reversing at a lot. I do think, I should just give up on this thing ever happening. It's really like my equity trading is just so embarrassingly bad today. Like I think that we would have stopped after, let's see here, 20, 30. Yeah, we would have stopped after $30, and then I started dinking around. And yeah, the dinking around just went terrible. Probably because I'm trying to catch too big of a swing, but so there was a strong little bit of a buy impetus. It's also interesting how quick the short side was and how very, very long and relentless the buying side has been. And then in during all of this, the treasuries move up for no reason. Like there's like so many things that I really just can't explain. I can explain the where my strategy is failing. It's like yeah, it's a rangy day. It's not going to work in that. And in past days, we come into rangy areas, and then eventually it'll break out, and we make money on that breakout. But not today, not today. So how do you take it? Uh, There are a lot of things that are in line with the long, but then they don't. They're not really taking it. Like this stuff right here is like, what the heck? They should find support at 79.75. They are. Missed it. Well, let's see if they find support. I need water. Oh man. Oh wait, was I long before I left here? Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, trader, says Timber.
Walked away at the wrong time, didn't I? Does that one actually make something? Well, for the moment. For the moment, it does. Always late to the party. Counter trend period ended and they pulled the sidewalk
Bot
out
says
from
counter trend period ended and they pulled the sidewalk out from under them.
I'm trying to remember now what I was thinking about with the long. Oh yes, because they should have found some support at that pivot, and they didn't. So I think that I didn't think to like move my stop or anything. I was just kind of looking back at it and like, well, that one really was like a real disaster. It's kind of funny because the way that things have been working out today, really makes me feel targeted, but I really don't think that that can really be it. Like it's really just a tight market, and I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm thinking or doing that's making me so off kilter with everything. You know? Um I can't pick a continuation uh area for the life of me. Look at this one. Literally 3 ticks. When I do catch one, they'll go, and then I don't take the profits on them, and they come all the way back. Well, for one thing, I did not get the right spot. Okay. See the spots that I'm taking in the ES, those are bad. How could it be that the spot that I took it short, how many times has that happened where the exact to the tick that they came back was my entry? Like there are some things that you think, well, okay, like yeah, I might just be focusing on the bad thing and seeing something that's not really that significant and it's just a coincidence. But then there's things where like it happens so many times in a row and it's so precise that you kind of have to suspect that you're just doing something bad. Okay, well this market's kind of still in price discovery mode, it seems. See if the shorts went out here or not. They definitely took out, man. That cumulative delta just fell so fast. We got out to go all the way back to negative 5,000 to get to the same cumulative delta on the downside, though. Oh, John's saying I think you'd like the risk reward plot. I think well, I guess the thing that I was getting into there was that like I took a trade and I had a theory on it. I don't know if it was like super like according to plan or anything like that, but I didn't plan out the exit at all. And I knew exactly where I wanted to bail, but I just didn't set it up, you know? Yeah, that's a solid downside right there. They're almost certain to make it to the low of the day now. I should say that almost certain. It's my read is that it's really highly probable, but there's probably going to be some fight here, isn't there? They're going to try and stop it from making a new low. I mean, they fought it literally every step of the way, everywhere already. Why wouldn't they fight this? That's the first bar of like true downside pressure in the level 2. What about the Treasury? The Treasury is actually still where it was, and it's actually showing me some maybe the other side. So wow, really? Longs are getting weaker. Somebody says in Discord. Well, they made a run for the open there, and that didn't look too terribly encouraging, but they did create a pivot low there. I don't know. Probably there's still a lot of longs hanging on. There's still about 4K of them. I guess a lot of those longs could just be shorts getting squeezed. Okay. So here's another thought is that we've seen a lot of like it's kind of doesn't really do anything until the London session closes. You notice that well, yesterday it wasn't like that, but there have been some days where it was kind of somewhat tight and it felt like it should be going when it didn't, and then it wasn't until London closed. Making assumptions. I think I just really want it to go short for some reason. I'm not really seeing everything like we have pretty solid confirmation of things up. But whenever I try taking that trade, it doesn't work out either. Hmm. This is just incredibly wild action. Like in terms of like uh I don't know how to like there's a lot of long tails. There's a lot of long tails. Let's say it that way. Nothing but chop right now, says David Logan. Yeah, it's not. They did go a little bit further up in the treasuries, but then it's come back and look, the buyers are trying to hold it. Like the buyers are saying, you didn't get the sell.
Bot says.
We're really stuck here, aren't we? So, like one thing that I think is interesting is that the original super smoother signal.
Bot says inside on the 60-minute in S.
Yeah. Um. Well, they're about to try and bust out through this 76. Oh, that should have. So how much did I get on that one? 11. Oh, so 76.75 is where the open was of this hour. Nope. Hey, let's take that one long. Nope. Slows down. Mm-mm. One thing is that I think I keep trying the sim trades because I think I'm gonna finally catch something or figure something out, but I'm really just doing the same thing, aren't I? They're gonna go up and get that 28.78 probably. Oh, you know what? I never fixed my tick. Let's fix that. That's 600 and 400. 600. 400. 0. Negative 400. Negative 600. And these need to be smaller. 1. Well, I need to figure out why when I reset it that the roofing function goes called kaplooey. $25 ago to the European close. So, how many longs do you think there still are from the European close? Hmm. Maybe the FTSE has the same problems as the NYSE with the market on close. I don't know how it works on the FTSE. 20 now, and yes, to the end of the hour, that is currently an inside bar on the 60-minute. Yeah. Well, notice how much they're toying with this 28.76.75. And we've pretty much been there all morning. Like we've rotated and come back to that spot. We went outside it 2 times, and now we're inside it 2 times. Like we did this. Where is it? We went. We went like this, down, up, and then really down, and then really up, and then down, up. Yeah. Oh, actually, there's the big one. No, that's that right there. Anyways. Well, it did give you one. I don't know if that one makes sense, like risk reward perspective wise, especially since 80 has been where they've had trouble, and if they do the same thing again, oh my gosh! Look, there's 1,000s trading there. Let's just for fun. The micros are starting to trade a lot. Like, normally it's like 20, 30 contracts to clear a price, and now all of a sudden we're starting to get 300s again. Well, not again. I don't think I've ever seen it like that. Well, I do want to see the European close, but okay. Oh, you already got out of it? Wait, you took it at 75.25. Oh, I thought you took it up at 80. So they're coming really close to the top of the hour, or the top of the previous hour. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not sure I can explain why I ended up making the decisions I did. Mm-hmm. The Treasury trade ended up working. Okay. Maybe you just should go back to trading the treasuries. You seem more comfortable doing that. Well, hell, if it's gonna start giving me reads like that, um, yeah, that would be great. But I'm more interested in, okay, in the evening. Okay, by the way, they're breaking out of that hour, which is good, and they filled me in the treasury, so that's cool. Um, I have like a bunch of thoughts. I'm kind of like trying to. Okay, the point of that one was, okay, so we have a day where what we've been doing really doesn't work, and where my even just my discretionary scalping trading is really really bad too, and it's not just really bad. I mean, it's like that is so awful. So many of these trades, like literally one or two ticks, favorable ticks. It's really crazy bad. Isn't it interesting? We went 2.5 weeks winning, ended up coming out with a winning day. And then today it broke down. Now I would have stopped trading it, but when I started to take them like, uh, what is it? My on probation tilt trades, they started to get really bad. So I'm more interested in, at this point, okay, when it doesn't work, what am I supposed to do? Or well, what I'm supposed to do is switch accounts, which I did. But is there like a strategy switch that I can be doing? I don't know. I do see some trades that could have been profitable, but you would have had to have taken a teeny little amount. So they need to get outside of 2887 to not be inside. Yeah, no, they're. Oh, you're right. Sorry, on the 15 minute they were. On the hour they got to make a new high. I was expecting them to get above 83, which they did. Also, there is still like a missing component. When I look at like the trades that were profitable or they might have worked, when you take them, well, except for this one, that one's really interesting actually. So like I might have been able to take it at 73, right? Well, it looks like um, we that's our exit. If it was off of the pivot, but anyways, so it's like I take a couple of trades at the beginning, strategy's not working. I start messing around. Trades start failing really badly. And the question is, what is it that I'm doing at that point? What is it like the way that I'm looking at it, something that I'm seeing or not seeing that all of a sudden makes the read so absolutely terrible? Man, those treasuries really moved. They went well beyond what I was looking at. And where I took it from, oh, that was such a nice trade. I think I kind of got lucky, a little lucky on it that it went to where I wanted it to, but when did I take it? Now we can't even see it. 8:38. Yeah. Histograms worked really well with it too. It is still like the roofing function it doesn't look like it works very well on that chart. I think I'm just gonna get rid of it. Honestly, the super smoother isn't necessarily super useful either. It's only useful just because it shows you a line. I never saw any use in that roofing filter. It really seems like that the roofing filter was really designed for his stochastics and that that's the only use for it. And even though he's shown some stats that show like, okay, theoretical trades, it was profitable over this time period, and Monte Carlo shows that it tends to be profitable more often than not. But um, I don't think if I went and back tested in NinjaTrader 8 that it would come out the way that his stats look. because it gives you too many bad signals. You know what I mean? But yeah, on these charts, it's just like look at the 10-year, right? Oops. 'Cause that's the one that we haven't really screwed up. The white line is the roofing filter. It's saying there at that spot that it's crossing. Well, I mean, there is a significant spot, but if you wanted to do something about it crossing zero, like, nah, you don't want to do that. I don't think you want to do that. It matters much more than this when this crosses zero. Honestly, though, we kind of had an interesting kind of a setup here because there was some real resistance here. But can you see how when after they pulled back and they started going up, how things really turned around? The order flow really turned around. It's kind of like having peanut butter stuck to the roof of your mouth. You already know why it happened. You don't need the signals to tell you you shouldn't have done it. Yeah. I don't know which part you were talking about. Oh. No, I don't think it's that. I think that it's so the roofing filter is intended to deal with what happens when an indicator gets when an oscillator gets stuck and shoved up on one side of the range or the other and ends up giving you a late signal when it crosses back down. That's what it's intended to do. And in this particular instance, I don't think that it makes sense. It really only makes sense for the stochastics. But then there's this whole thing that's like, yeah, but is the stochastic signal really even that good anyways? So the roofing filter is probably not that good. We need more. There's a different kind of filter we need though, somewhere, because for these big orders, there's got to be a way to filter out all of this so that I can tell when something is actually matters. Maybe I could try doing the thing. So I was having this issue where it was like I would try deviation bands around it, and it would just flag too many. Although I also feel like that this is way more useful in the E-mini than it is in the Treasuries, and even in the E-mini, it hasn't really. Well, did it give me? I guess you could consider. No, that one's actually an opposite signal. That one is good. I don't know. Well, I could just say when it gets up to when I get one that's over X thousand or something. Sure, I could just I could just draw a line at 1500 here. I kind of wonder. Try to matters. Yeah, but the problem, the reason why I'm hesitant to do that is just because I want it to be adaptive. It's been changing a lot. When it was the size of one that you would get 6 months ago is not the size of one that you would get today. Okay, yeah, there's the London close. Yeah, that part ended up being an inside bar. Through all this other stuff, though. Really need to make this a little bigger. So, like, talk about noise. I mean, there was one signal that was okay, but look, it was like a big down bar next to it, so that one's no good. Here's one. Bad. Although I'm kind of looking more for the hour change, so like right here. I don't know. Like there's just since there's not a clear direction in a runner, the strategy just doesn't make the money. It just doesn't do it. We have to have a completely opposite strategy. And we've made strategies like that in Treasuries, but not in the E-mini. Not in the E-mini. So I don't know where to do it. Well, I could probably go and turn around and do the opposite of what I did and probably could make money. I'd have to be more conscious, but although that last one I kind of tried doing that and then realized better, took it long. In fact, I do think that right here should be able to leave it. Like the trade that I want to catch. Well, not that I want to catch, but the swing trade that we've been talking about. How do you deal with it in this context? I think in this context, you stopped out of it once and deal with it. But otherwise, you would have to just have a really wide stop and still be in it, you know. But we could still totally make it up to 29.94. In fact, I think that's the most likely case now, especially since they're continuing to move up, even after the close. So, yeah. Look at the way the Treasuries came back for us. Did they really come back that much? A little bit. I was just thinking about the whole thing about doing the Treasuries. Because it really was like a lot of it was just that I didn't think that the opportunities were in Treasuries at that moment. I think it might be more time before I can really do that. Treasuries interest me more. I think that they're going to be more responsive. I'm really starting to think just from putting my order flow indicators on the charts and watching it on a Treasury and watching it on an E-mini, it kind of disturbs me a little bit that so many of the jigsaw people are trading the E-mini because the order flow techniques are not well adapted to the E-mini. In fact, I dare say that in many of the ways that people are trying to use it, they're useless. Anyways, you want to trade a market that it's not an index. You don't want to trade an index fund with order flow. I don't think you do. Go back to bonds, even if you totally figure out how to trade the ES now, they will totally trade different during the summer. Well, I mean, so let me put something else out there that we haven't talked about today, but it was kind of assumed. Okay, was for the past 2 weeks we've been trading a strategy, and the strategy in the E-mini has been doing very, very well. And today it did not do well. Now there's been this whole thing about, okay, when it does well and when it doesn't do well, how much of that is me? And a lot of what has happened is I'll trade in these choppy areas and not do well and maybe blame myself a little bit, but then in the end, the winners come out and are great and it's fine. And because we have such a good clue about what the day can go to, it really works out. But today, that's not happening. So I think today is the first day I've seen where the overall idea is not working. At least it would depend on how good you are at taking your profits where you are. And we definitely don't have the spot to tell us where to get out. Okay. So we're going back to it. Okay, that's one day. So you can just say, all right, 4 losers or whatever, and you get out and you only lost $30. We made $80 yesterday. No big deal. If you kept trading it, it would have been a total, complete fucking disaster. Okay. Because I never had any one of those that would have really have gone to a profit target. So, do you have to adjust the strategy at that point? Do you say, okay, well, we just don't, you just take that day as a loss and it's a loss? Or is that more concerning? I'm leaning towards that's more concerning. It shouldn't do that poorly in a ranging market. And we're going to have to find some ways, I think, to counter that. But we're coming up on the summer, so I have no intention of putting any risk on the table during the summer. I know that my trading is really bad, and I know that somewhere around mid-May that the trading starts to be really bad for me. So maybe that's just what we're seeing right now. Maybe the buyers, they really got what they wanted, and now we are transitioning. It would make sense because when I think back to times that I've done poorly around this time of year, although it's a little weird that Treasury trade worked out so well. I don't, and this is where it gets into like, well, maybe I'm just overthinking it, and I'm sure that if we wait, that we'll get answers, but it just seems incredibly bizarre to me that the Treasuries have moved up a full point. Literally a whole from 138.20. Oh, not a whole point. The ZB maybe did though. 16 to 04. So 3/4 of a point. 3/4 of the point. And the E-mini is just like, whatever. Oh, that one's wrong. So here again, how much did that go? 5. It's weird, right? How can it be that bad? Well, what should we call today's video? I need to go. It is an inside day on the daily chart, right? Oh, it actually is not. It's actually an outside day on the daily chart. We're just going to call it. Just a description of what's going on so I can go back and find it. Oh, actually, I need to change it from that. How can I describe it without being silly? Nah, I'm just going to call it like that. I don't care. I really don't care anymore. See you guys later. Stay profitable.